Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life. And yeah, Joe, he's kind of bummed. We are out of milk right now. I have to get to the grocery store. So he's just working on eating an apple for like literally the last hour. So
yeah, it has lunch, has apple.
That's going to be your lunch?
Yeah. Lunch.
Let me just give you time reference. It's 9:20 and I got up early this morning, about 5 o'clock this morning. I've been waking up really early. I'm not really sure why lately, but anyway, I've been waking up quite early, so I get up and I work on like YouTube work, whether it's editing, responding to comments and emails and things like that. And just also I've been working on wrapping my head around a second cookbook, which is exciting. I know I am really excited to get another 150 recipes into a cookbook because I find I use my first cookbook so much. But I have a lot of other, are you appropriate? Yes, he is. Okay. I have a lot of other recipes that I'd like to get into the mix more often, but since they're not like easy to get to and easy for me to find all the time, I find I don't do it. So anyway, Peter and Maria have been working on Legos here a good... Oh, your cafe just broke.
Actually, it's easy to fix.
Oh, that's good. And Peter's working on some. Sam, what do you got going on today?
Putting on socks.
And Sam's putting on socks. What are you, an old man?
Yep.
That's like that's the biggest part of your day is putting on a pair of socks?
Yeah, tomorrow's Nick's birthday.
Yep, tomorrow is Nick's birthday. Joe is having a great time here this morning. I took down all of the Christmas decorations finally. Well,
yeah,
Warren and the kids kind of took a lot of stuff down. Then it all got piled on the island for 10 days or more. And finally it got put away this weekend, except all the Christmas cards. So the kids have been just kind of like combing through those over and over. And Joe loves looking at pictures. So that's what he's been doing a lot of. And now we are actually getting set up to read. We try to read from a read aloud every day, even something that Sam will enjoy. And so currently we are reading this. This is a series of, I think, 4 books. Nick read these books when he was probably, I would say, around 14, 15 years old. And they're definitely geared for teenagers, but I've been reading them. Joe, Peter, and Maria have also been listening, and they really enjoy the book too. So there's a lot of peril. There's a little bit of I don't know if you call it a love story, but at this point it's a little more of a infatuation story. So we're gonna take some time and read. I think Sam's gonna probably try to find something to eat. We're out of milk. Yeah, I know. I have to get to the grocery store. So that might happen today. I'm not exactly sure. I have laundry going with 2 more baskets lined up as a reminder to me to get those, get that laundry done. Chapter 18, Dateline. I followed her out of the woods. It wasn't easy. I was hurting all over and walking slowly. A few times, the red-haired lady had to wait up for me, even though she was walking with the little girl. She'd pause and watch me hobbling as fast as I could, trying to catch up with her, and I thought I saw a little mom-like sympathy come into her eyes. It was a nice thing to see. I was in need of a little mom-like sympathy at that point. We're all finished reading now, and I'm just cycling through laundry. So we wanted to wash up a bunch of blankets. Not we, I. I wanted to wash up a bunch of blankets. The kids didn't really care if they were washed, and I want to wash both Joe's like play coat and his town coat. And so I put the laundry baskets right here just to remind me that I really need to keep up with the laundry today. I think I mentioned before that it's actually Thursday, so our week is, you know, it's starting to wind down here a little bit. And I haven't done a whole lot of laundry this week because I actually had a couple of speaking engagements. So I spoke at a local library on Monday about my YouTube channel and about my cookbook. And then we had like a food tasting and stuff like that. So that was a lot of fun. And then actually yesterday for our homeschool co-op, I also spoke on transcripts, like high school credits and high school transcripts and things like that. And that was actually a lot of fun too. I felt like it was very well received. And so yeah, I have just between those speaking engagements and everything, I've just been a little bit busy, and so I haven't done a whole lot. Actually, I haven't done any laundry this week. I really need to cycle through this today. While Sam is working on his schoolwork, and before we need to correct things, the other kids are, honestly right now, they're just playing and doing Legos and that. I'm making some cookies. This is a recipe. Let me show you here. This is a recipe out of this cookbook. So I was sent this. I wish I could remember the lady's name. I'd have to go look at the letter again. And it came all the way from Nova Scotia. And I've looked through it because I received it. I believe it was already last summer. And I have looked and reread recipes like I always do with cookbooks. And today I just thought I'm going to try this recipe for what's called Loyalist cookies. It looks like a pretty basic cookie recipe, but I can say I don't think I've ever put orange juice in a cookie recipe. I've had it in muffins, I've had it in breads, even a bar recipe where I had to make kind of like a little cranberry sauce or a little cranberry gel to put in the middle of some bars. I've never put it in cookies, so I am excited. I'm at the point where I have to put in 2 tablespoons, there we go, of orange juice. And I need to crack an egg in here, and then we're going to get this stirred up again. We're going to do a ½ teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of, let's double check, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and a whole teaspoon of baking powder. I've noticed the baking powder companies are cheaping out. They're not putting the leveler on their cans anymore. That's everything that needs to get sifted. So we're going to get that sifted into the bowl here. I need 1 cup of chopped nuts, so I'm going to do walnuts, if I can do it without spilling. I bought a new one because all the little jars, even the little jelly jars and other jars I was trying from the store, you know, when I'd empty something in the fridge, I would try it, and it would not, it just was not this size. This is so, it's so tiny. So I bought a new one. I'd say that that's pretty close to a cup of walnuts. And then the recipe calls for 2½ cups of roughly chopped cranberries. And I've actually been keeping these cranberries fresh in the fridge since cranberry harvest, so since mid-October. And a lot of them are still really, really firm. I do have some soft ones that I'm gonna have to pull out, like both of these here. Those are too soft. I'm just gonna have to pitch those to the chickens. But I'm just gonna pick through here and kind of roughly, I think what I'll do is just, this is going to take a little while. Maybe I should pick through, no, I think I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to chop each one in half, and that should be good. I think this recipe would work with frozen cranberries as well. It's just when you try to chop frozen cranberries, you have to use a food processor, and it's super loud. I mean, it's not the biggest of deals, but yeah, I think it would still work out just fine. But I figured since I had these fresh cranberries that I would use them because I think it's going to be better with fresh. I've tried a couple other recipes in the past for cranberry cookies that use fresh cranberries rather than dried cranberries, you know, the sweetened dried cranberries, or even the unsweetened dried cranberries. And we haven't really liked them. Most of them end up to be a little bit cakey. And I think even one of them called for like a frosting on top. We just weren't really thrilled with that. So I'm hoping that we like this recipe. I'm trying a new cranberry cookie recipe.
What's that?
I'm trying a new cranberry cookie recipe.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we'll see. Ooh. I just preheated the oven to 375 degrees per the recipe, and it says to drop on a greased cookie sheet and then bake for 10 to 15 minutes. I will err on the lower side for baking time. And these cookies are made with all butter and no shortening. Butter tends to spread a little bit more than a shortening cookie. So I'm actually just going to kind of shape them loosely into a ball. I'm not going to flatten them out at all like I oftentimes do with cookies. At least not the first pan. We'll see how the first pan turns out. You might be wondering why I'm not using a cookie scoop. My cookie scoop is a pretty small one, and sometimes I find that it's almost a little too small. I know they make bigger ones, like about maybe 3 different sizes, and you know, every once in a while I think, oh, I'll get a bigger cookie scoop, and I'm like, why? Why? A spoon and my fingers work just fine. I only use my cookie scoop for cookies. I don't use it as a melon baller or anything else, so sometimes I don't like to have things that only do one thing in the kitchen. Otherwise I end up with just too many gadgets. I think if you're a white chip lover, this would be a great recipe to maybe do a little bit less on the cranberries and add some white chips to it. I don't have a lot of white chip lovers in my house, so I don't tend to cook with a lot of white chips. I like them, but I really don't need to eat an entire batch of cookies myself. I want to show you the cookies. I think these cookies are beautiful. I really, really like the way they look, better than a lot of the other cookies that I've made using fresh cranberries. And they're really good. I like them. I already tried like 2, I think, maybe 3, 4, 6. I don't know how many I've had. But Sam, he took a bunch to school too. And he's like, those are really, really good. So hopefully, I think I just heard Warren come in. Did I hear you come in? Oh, I guess that was Peter. But when Warren comes in, he'll try them too, and we'll see what he thinks. But yeah, they're really good. They're not overly cakey. That was what I was worried about. Other cranberry cookies that I have made that use a fresh cranberry versus a dried cranberry, they sometimes are a little bit too cakey. And I don't know what it is and why these aren't, but they're yummy. So we're having just typical lunch here. Last night we had tacos, but I didn't think I had quite enough, so I made tater tots to go with it, and rice and everything. And we are without a microwave. It broke actually when we were sick, and we just have not replaced it yet. So I've been warming everything up on the stove or in the oven. I kind of burnt my tater tots when I was warming them up. But I have some taco meat mixed in with the rice here. And then we just have like a little bit of cheese sliced. We have the soft shells. Maria is making herself a turkey sandwich. You're struggling with that. You have to take like a little bigger chunk. There you go. And then kind of give it a little shake or use 2 hands to pull it apart. I have the leftover toppings from the tacos last night. And I also have a little bit of coleslaw. So between all of that, we are going to make ourselves a lunch. So I've been in another room of the house. Actually, I've been out in the schoolroom for quite a while. I was doing some computer work, editing, printing address labels for cookbooks that I'm going to be shipping off. And I came back to the dining area. And I'm not kidding you, just walking back into this part of the house, I went and turned off 6 different lights. I closed cabinet doors, I closed closet doors, and I turn around. I'm like, this room did not look like this an hour ago. Sometimes. But I'm going to ignore all of it for right now because honestly, none of it is mine. And I'm going to work on cookbooks. So without showing you names and addresses, I am sending a cookbook to Grand Rapids, Michigan, to Cambridge, England, Overland Park, Kansas, East Alton, Illinois, Decatur, Alabama, where is this? Marshfield, Wisconsin, Loma, Colorado, and Hendersonville, North Carolina. So thank you all so much for continuing to support this cookbook endeavor. And I'm going to get these 8 packaged so I can get into the P.O. box tomorrow. It's about 3:45 right now, and so I really want to have supper ready about probably 5:15-ish. And so I am just getting a couple things prepped. Right now, Maria is working on her time for learning. She actually has to do her what I assigned her to do for Wednesday and for today. So she's working on that. And I really don't know what the other kids are doing right now. Is it like that in your house? You're like, I know they're in the house, but I have no idea what they're doing. We are going to be having whiskey burgers tonight for supper. So I have over here 2 pounds, 3 ounces of venison, ground venison. And I'll be making those into hamburger patties with my hamburger press in just a couple minutes. But I just cut up some onions and I'm chopping up some jalapenos. Not a ton. We don't need a lot of jalapenos. These are pretty spicy. There's a lot of really good burger seasonings out there. I mean, seasoned salt and pepper works really great. Regular salt and pepper, your own homemade mix. I have been using this amazing burger. This one comes from Aldi. I also at one point had picked up one from Dollar Tree, I think, that was very good. I've seen a lot of them at Amazon that look really good as well. More like little specialty shops. But this one I like. It has a little bit of a smoky, yeah, it has a little bit of a smokiness to it, and I really like that on the burgers. Peter actually requested burgers last night when I was in the basement. I'm like, what do you guys want for me to bring up for meat today? And he's like, burgers. I'm gonna make whiskey. Peter.
Oh.
I'm gonna make whiskey burgers.
Awesome.
I got the onions and the jalapenos already cut up. I don't want the cat over here. Once I finished slicing up all of the sweet potatoes, I'm not sure if this showed up in the picture, but I had a Ziploc bag. I had a bunch of olive oil in there and a little bit of garlic salt, and that's it. I'm just going to put these into the oven. I have my oven set at 415 degrees. I really don't think it matters much, 400, 425, but I do recommend a dark cookie sheet. I just think that they brown up a little bit better. And honestly, sweet potatoes, they don't always brown up as even as you'd like them to, or at least as even as I'd like them to, but they're still good. So I'm making whiskey burgers for supper along with the sweet potato fries. Can't remember if I mentioned that before or not, but I do have the recipe for this sauce in my cookbook. I don't even really go according to that anymore because I've made it so many times. I basically just melt some butter, slice up a whole bunch of onions. I actually like to cut the onion like from the top down, so you get this style of slice. I don't really know why I do it like that for this rather than, you know, normally I'll cut an onion in half and then I tip it on its side and slice it like that. But it doesn't matter. I'm sure it all tastes the same. And then I'm just going to saute these up. So this is going to take a little while, and that's why I got these going right now. Okay, doesn't that look beautiful? I absolutely love fried onions so much. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, and I know some of them look a little green. It's just because these are my homegrown onions, and some of the, like the outer layers are I guess just more green. I don't know. Anyway, they're still delicious. I have to get the sweet potatoes out and get those kind of turned over, and then we'll get back to the sauce. So tonight I'm going to be using this Tennessee honey whiskey because that's what I have. And I can't remember if I'm supposed to put a 1/4 cup in or a 1/2 cup in, but whatever. Just enough is really what you want. And yep, that's what it's going to do. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. I wasn't really sure if I was going to like that, the honey whiskey in here. I normally use just like a regular Jack Daniels, but this smells really good with the onions. And now that that has just kind of like done its little steamy cooking like that, now I am going to add in the barbecue sauce. And again, I'm just going to add in whatever looks to be about enough. I know how I like it to look. Whoops, wrong spoon. I'm going to stir this around. And the last thing to do is to put in the jalapenos. I can't do that while holding on. Come on. Are they going to fall in? There we go. Just put those jalapenos in, stir it around, and this is going to be sweet and spicy and buttery. And I don't know, and if that does not sound delicious to you, then I don't know what to say. And a good piece of cheddar cheese. This is going to be so good. So I did put the sweet potato fries in for another 20 minutes, so I just turned them, and they were just barely starting to get brown. Okay, I have some bacon grease that's been just hanging out over here, and it's just about melted because it's nice and warm on the stovetop here. And what I'm going to do, you know what, I better turn this all the way to low. And I'm going to start getting this nice and hot because that just makes the best burgers, a really hot cast iron skillet. And I'll probably add some butter in. This was the last of my bacon grease, liquid gold, and so I think I'm going to have to add in just a little bit of butter. Venison is super lean, and so I find that it really is delicious if you add a little fat to your pan as you're cooking it. It just adds a lot of really great flavor and moisture. Alright, well this is how everything is looking. So the sweet potato fries are all done. I told you that I really like to put the whiskey sauce on first and then put the cheese over top, but I had these 3 in here and I thought, well, let's just melt the cheese on those right away. So anyway, it's going to be just fine. And then we have some pork and beans. And then out on the table tonight we have some apple cider and cranberry juice and all the things, and Sam brought up a little jar, not a little jar, a quart jar of applesauce. So that is what supper is going to be looking like tonight. You actually found something to eat tonight, Maria? Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Did you get a video of the wood cutting and the welding?
No, I didn't get any. Nothing from your angle. You're going to have to start taking a camera with you.
You can't use that much.
Because that would be fun. It is like 8:15 now, and let's just look at the laundry. So I cycled through all of the laundry today. I'm so happy to have gotten it all done. The blankets, I just have one last load of towels that are working on drying right now. But other than that, how we work it now is I just pile everything up here, and tomorrow morning everybody will come out here, scoop up their laundry and put their own laundry away. And then also Maria, she is always on socks, so she'll come. Look at our basket. We don't know what's happening. It's like something's eating it and we don't really understand. No, it's really just getting broken somehow. But anyway, Maria just grabs this basket every day. She brings it down, she folds all the socks, and then she takes socks to everybody's room for them. And yeah, then tomorrow that's gonna get everything will be all put away. I think tonight Warren and I are probably gonna watch maybe a dry bar comedy video, and while I'm watching that, I'll just fold up the towels quick. And with that, whoa, it got really dark, didn't it? I'm going to be saying goodnight to all of you, and yeah, that's what we're doing. Warren is just working on getting the kids into bed right now, and it's just kind of quiet around here. Yeah, it's 20 after 8, and it's kind of quiet, and that is a good thing. It's just pretty, it is a pretty typical January night. We stay in, we don't have any place that we have to go, and I absolutely love it. I hope that you guys are having a fabulous day, and we will see you in one of the next videos.